things are about to get a little smelly up in here. It's time to wake up the giants. People are going to be left wondering after that little intro. Like, doesn't it stink every week? I don't know.
The worst is like, smell this, right? Like,
Smell this. Pull my finger.
pull my finger. Does this smell like popcorn? That's what I'll say to my kids.
Yeah.
And then everybody goes, nope.
Smell like burnt onions. Remember
Burnt
that?
onions. Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Well, Giants, welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. My name is Ryan Morris. I'm the co-creator of Wake Up with Giants TV, a tribe of giants and 12 journeys coaching. And there's Mr. Nick. Hey, and there's Mr. Me. There's Mr. Nick. Nicholas T. Smith, the author of The Giants and the Smalls, The Tortoise's Hair. There's the Giants and the Smalls, and behind Nick's head is a picture of Tortoise's Hair. You can get them on Amazon, and fantastic books. They're the whole reason why we started coming live to you every Sunday, just to be able to help you in your life, in your journey, to be able to relate to other people that are going down their journey and stepping forward so that you can see what is possible, because that's what it's all about. This book was written because somebody put Nick on his shoulder, gave him a view of what is possible, and that giant stood up and he saw a whole new world. And from that time, Nick's been on a quest, on a pursuit to help other people navigate their journeys. And it's been a beautiful thing. I'm so excited to be a part of it. It's absolutely changed my life, and it can change yours too. And that's why we bring on beautiful, amazing guests to help you build your belief that anything that you want to do is possible. And it can be hard. It can be a lot of work, but it's absolutely worth it. You're going to stretch and grow along the way, and so that's what we did. We found it. We scoured the earth, and we found another one, and we brought her here today, kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
We also run what we call SG groups. There are SG is short for Sum Gigante, which is I am giant in Latin. And Nick, will you explain what the SG group does,
Yeah.
and how to get a hold of us to do that?
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm going to kind of share this too. This book,
Perfect.
The Art of Accomplishment, written back in 2011, back a long time ago. This was kind of the foundation to what we all have today. So the Giants and the Smalls, the 12 Journeys, a lot of it came from this book. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to grab this, but this was written back in 2011. You can get it on Audible as well. But the Sum Gigante is really designed to help you to break out of just being potential and stepping into actual, creation. And so our goal is to take you from potential to reality. And, one of my favorite, thank you, Hugh, for that. It is a great read. It's a short read. It'll take you about 30 minutes, one-page chapters, just very simple principles to help you break through. But when we look at potential, one of the greatest symbols of potential is the acorn. It's one of those things that has the ability to be the oak tree, but until it breaks free, it doesn't become that. And our goal is to help you, like the acorn, become the oak tree in your life, to become what it is you're capable of becoming. And so through the Sum Gigante program, what we do is we dive into those stories and narratives and challenges that you're facing in life and teach you tools to navigate through those so that you can come out of those quicker and quicker and start realizing your potential at a higher speed. It used to take me 10 years to come out of my depression, anxiety. Now I can do it in moments. And for a lot of people, that sets them free to be able to live into what they're capable of. The other thing we do is we teach you to embrace the unknown abundance, teach you how to vision, how to surrender, how to nurture, how to let go, and then how to ultimately leave your impact or the fruit in the world. Because that's really what it's about. It's not about us and what we get from you. It's about helping you to see that in you and break free so that you can fully be what you were designed to be. You know, some of us are apple trees, some of us are oak trees, some of us are peach trees. It doesn't matter,
I like
right?
peaches.
We want to help you break into what it is that you're capable of. And speaking of scents, you know, some of us are scent trees. We bring sense into the world. So if you're interested, you can reach out to us, DM us, message us. We'll get you details on the program. It's a 6-week program online. It's done by Zoom. You can join us from anywhere in the world. Our last group was out of the UK and had some phenomenal breakthroughs. And so we want to do that for you. So when you're ready, reach out to us and we'll get you details on how you can join. Uh, yeah, with that, let's some more butt tree.
Sometimes people are butts.
Well, yeah, that's what shows up in the world. So I'm going to introduce our guest real quick, and then we'll dive in. So our guest is Arline Trividic. She's built a life defined by exploration, creativity, and determination. She's traveled to places like London, Paris, Egypt, and Costa Rica, engaging with cultures around the world. Along the way, she's faced significant losses, including the deaths of her sister, father, and mother to cancer, and supported her husband through his fight against throat cancer. Holy cow.
Mm.
In 1999, Arline lost her office job due to downsizing. Instead of letting it define her, she created Smell This Aromatherapy in 2002. What began as a small backyard operation grew into a manufacturing facility in Richmond, British Columbia, producing plant based products rooted in safety and sustainability. Arlene's Smellology Lab is where she formulates custom essential oil blends and botanical products, collaborating with individuals, spas, and businesses to create tailored natural wellness solutions. So please welcome the founder of Smell This Aromatherapy, Arline Trividic. Thank you and for
Good
being on the
morning.
show. Yeah, good to
Woo!
see you. So our job is to really draw out of you your journey, your story. And the reason we do that is to highlight your experience so that others can see their possibility in you.
Yep.
And we always like to go back in time to before you were this, you were something, you thought you were something else, right? And can you lay the foundation for us? What was life like growing up? Was life easy? Did you have different belief systems? Will you walk us through some of that?
Sure. Basically, my sister was 20 years older than myself. We had two different fathers. So, my mom, when she married my dad, he'd never had kids. So, she had me at 39.
Mm,
So, we were pretty far apart. And there was some issues when I got into my teenage years, as teenagers can be a little snarky and mean. And mom and I butted heads a lot. But in the end, it worked out okay because once I got into my 20s, we were a little bit more uh, compatible.
yeah.
I got married at 19 to my husband, who I still have now after 45 years. Love it. Had a daughter at 19. Uh, Basically, grew up knowing that she was our only child, and we kept saying we were going to have another one. And by the time she was 5, I was off working, volunteering in the school. And one of the things I really enjoyed doing at the school was I got to spend time with her during lunchtime and things like that. But I got to volunteer in the library because I'm a closet bookie. I loved it, working with the kids. I got to do story times. But then after a while, I actually went with the Delta school system, and they trained me to be an Orton Gillingham therapeutic tutor. So I got to start being a volunteer tutor for kids with learning disabilities. And basically, that was my first passion because once I started doing the volunteer with the kids in the schools, I actually went and did the actual course and became certified. And then I started going into schools and helping kids, elementary and high school, with learning disabilities. So
Mm,
it was very challenging. I think the hardest thing I ever saw was having a 16-year-old boy in my presence break down and cry because the school system just wasn't, they just didn't want to gear a program to that child, and it was always funds. And I'm like, no, if you taught everybody by seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, you in incorporate all their senses, which means everybody learns, because all of us learn differently. Like if I know myself, if you stick me in a lecture and put me in the back of the class,
Yeah.
I'm going to
Night
be,
night.
yeah, not nine night, but just not be as, so I always put myself at the very front so then I'm focused on the
Yeah.
speaker. And you put anybody in that situation and everybody's going to say, do it this way for me. And what I would teach my students is when you go into a job interview as an adult, say, can you show me how to do that? You don't have to say, I have a learning disability. Show me or tell me, if you'll already know what way you learn. And that was the best thing I ever learned for myself, was even in my business nowadays, if I'm doing a course in training or I'm doing the scent bar, I can tell if somebody has that glazed look. You got a glazed look, you're either not understanding or you're not there. So that's what those techniques back then helped me in my future endeavors.
Yeah. I know the eyes are the only part of the brain that's actually exposed.
Yeah.
They're directly connected, right? So you can often tell what's going on with the eyes there. Yesterday, I got to teach. Was it yesterday? Holy cow! It's 2 days ago. Today's Sunday. 2 days ago, got to teach the juveniles up in the prison here, and it was exactly what you described right there.
Yeah.
They put them in a classroom setting. These kids are locked up for long time, and some of them are going straight from there to regular prison after they're
Yeah.
done. And at the back of the room, you got these kids that are just totally disinterested, glazed over, and then kids up front that some of them want to know, but they're also looking at their peers, looking over their shoulders, and a lot of us do that, and when it comes to learning, I can see the power of, as a teacher, to be aware of everybody in their own way. When you look at what you're doing today, I don't know that had anything to do with anything other than to confirm what you said, but when you look at where you are today, um, how did you go from that life to smells, right? So it's
Okay. Yeah. There's
it's
a,
like there must have been some kind of an awakening or something that just said, this, or what is it? Can you walk us
well,
through that?
yeah, about 10 years into tutoring, I burnt out
Mm,
because there was just so much stress and pain that you would see from families and children. And basically, after that 16-year-old broke down, and I was so frustrated with the system that I just had to walk away.
mm,
And at that point, I really didn't have anything to do. And so I started to look for jobs and worked a lot of jobs I really didn't like, but they brought in income and
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
But then I started working in the printing industry for a printing company here, and I became the production coordinator. And I absolutely loved it because basically I was the person down in the manufacturing that would get the jobs and take them from the beginning process right through to the end. I had to make sure that job made it to every part that it needed to get done and get out on time. And it was, again, something that helped me now running my own business, because you have to take the job right from the start to each spot and make sure it gets done on time and proper with quality and everything else that's involved. So what happened there is I was happy there, figured I'd never be concerned about losing my job like we all are. And they changed management and they decided that they were going to downsize. And at Christmas of 1999, I lost my job. Shocked, devastated, was probably the biggest blow to my ego and my mind, because I never thought it would happen to me because I was valuable to them. But,
mm,
downsizing is mean, it's cruel. And so I just, okay, here we go. And again, once that happened, one of my friends had given me a little, probably not even good essential oils, but gave me a little kit of smells. And I have to say, even before I ever did this, if I go into a store, I smell everything. If I like the smell, I'm going to buy it.
Hmm.
And if I don't like the smell, I'm not. But I think a lot of people are like that, because hence the reason Palmolive and all the big boys all really push. Oh, look, it smells like this, right?
Mm.
Because they try and pull people in, like, like Ryan said, he likes peach, right? So everybody has their likes and dislikes. And so up in January came, they have little community courses in the community centers. I took I think it was just like this 10-week course every Thursday night about aromatherapy.
Mm.
Loved it. Loved it. And so I started talking to the lady and I said, look, this is really cool. Is there anything, for jobs in this? And then she pushed me to a lady called West Coast Institute of Aromatherapy. At the time, I didn't have a clue of,
That's a
what
weird
this,
first and last name.
yeah, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
And so,
that's hard to say at a
yeah,
networking
that's hard
meeting.
to say.
Yeah.
And so I signed up for her course, and the most of it could be done online, which was great because I could keep working and bringing in money. But you had to write your exams, and you had to do things with her. So it was like maybe once a month you would go in, and she would make you do something with her. And she was tough, and I'm so glad she was tough,
Mm.
because she laid the roots and the grounds for how I wanted to go and become what I am today.
Yeah.
Safety with people was prime with her. You could not harm people because she was an aromatherapist,
Mm.
which I am. And the thing was, you had to ask, you had to engage with them. So again, the tutoring helped because, again, engaging with people, I learned how to watch people. Um, and I started out working with friends and family, and then 2005, one of the suppliers that was supplying me with essential oils went up for sale. And I looked at my husband. He goes, no. We got mortgages. We got car payments. We're not buying
Yeah.
a business. I did the batty eyelashes and begged and borrowed. And then family is, like I said, family has been my biggest support system. My mom
Mm.
second mortgaged her condo to help me buy it.
Wow.
And that was amazing. So, but I have to tell everybody, I got bamboozled. I got sold a company that did really have no customers.
Uh,
And that's my fault. I was young. I was, not very with it. And we made, I can say, lemonade out of lemons. I was lucky I had my own vision for the business and basically pushed his
yeah.
stuff aside. He said he had hundreds of customers. We were lucky if he had 10.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So you really
So
were, you had the business, but no, I mean, no
nothing,
foundation,
no
nothing.
foundation. So, but I always say to people, what happened there was, if I hadn't done that, I would
Yeah.
not be here today, because I
Right.
would not have had the balls
Yep.
to start it on my own
Yeah.
and grow
I
it.
want to, I want to hang on a pattern that I'm seeing that maybe is a little unexplainable, right? The curiosity that came from the aromatherapy and the natural drive or flow into that. But everything that happened prior to it was a step into becoming that. So it's like we say in our training. Steve Jobs says that you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only do that looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect. But when you started connecting your dots back in the day, there was no vision of aromatherapy when you were tutoring,
No.
right? It's this natural. What I find interesting here that I'm noticing more and more recently, and I think it was Michael Singer that said that. He says, when you stop trying to force who you think you should be into the world, then you start to actually become who you were meant to be in the world. And you look back on things like this, there's this trust of following these pathways to lead you where you're truly supposed to express. And it's hard to explain it because, on one hand, we want our free will. And on the other hand, the more we use our free will, the less likely we are to become what we were meant to become. And we're allowed to do that. And the challenge is that the more we use our free will towards something, that we have as a dream or vision, sometimes we try and force a square peg in a round hole, and it's a battle every day. But the more you can relax into it, the more it just starts to express naturally, and it's as good or better than anything you had in mind, and you couldn't
Mm.
have seen it coming. Does that make sense? Like,
Yes, very much
do you
so.
believe in that, or am I
No,
just saying
it's
some weird stuff right now?
no,
Did I
it's
just expose my mental illness? Yeah.
You wear it on
I
your sleeve, Nick.
yeah, no kidding. I truly believe in what you say and the fact that all your past
Yeah.
experiences need to be there to build to what who knows what's going to be. Like there you don't know the future. We can say, this is what I want 2 years from now, but it may not be, and that's okay.
Especially in this world, like we're taught to do that. Like, hey, tell us what your goals and visions are, or dreams are, and it's like, I won't swear, but dude, I don't know.
I
Like, I
don't know
don't
either.
know. Yeah, I don't know.
And
Wherever I end up.
I used to get frustrated when I was in high school because they really would do it to you in high school. What do you want to be? What do you want?
Yeah, yeah.
I want to go party Saturday night.
Can I be that?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. And even as adults, it's really hard, except that
Mm.
I guess if you're in higher learning, becoming a doctor, you could say, well, I want to be a doctor in 5 years.
Well, and with discipline, you can be right.
Yeah.
Like you can chisel out everything else, and you can actually be that.
Yeah.
But what if you were meant for more? Right?
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we put a pause in the thought there. So I appreciate that. That helps me to know. It really is one of those things that, we do vision, we do need purpose for life. I was watching a crazy show. It's called I Survived last night. And you look at what these people have been through, and the ones that survived had some kind of purpose. Viktor Frankl talks about this, that there's some kind of purpose that keeps them going. And I might shift the whole direction of this conversation here, but we can bring it back to wherever we need. But I look at that is that we have purpose, and that word means to move forward, to rest. And so it's not like we're limited to one purpose. We have myriad purposes. So I think of it as going on a road trip, and you're going from Salt Lake City to New York. And along the way, you're going to see viewpoints and stop. You might go see Mount Rushmore or something, and that's a purpose. So these little targets along the way are the purposes. And those are what I think we're talking about when it comes to vision and goal setting, is purposes. They give us a reason to move, to get out of bed, to keep going, even if they're really dumb. I want to go party this weekend. Then that's a purpose, right? But when it comes to our impact, there's a unique gift instilled in each of us, that nobody else can give to the world, right? And yours happened to be aromatherapy, which is just amazing, because now you've impacted and blessed lives because of that. And what's amazing is you couldn't have predicted that from the beginning. There's no way you could have known that. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
It's
so
very accurate.
tie in for me, if you would, these purposes. Like, what is purpose to you? I gave you my definition, but
Yeah.
is that important? And how does somebody align with their real impact, their legacy, their fruit?
And I think it goes, like I said, how Bev at the West Coast Institute of Aromatherapy had instilled in me
Mm,
um, the safety of it, but also the education of it. And I think from day one, it's always been to immerse myself totally in sponging up as much information as I can
mm,
and making sure that if I don't know something, I will say to somebody like my customers, I don't know enough about that. Let me,
Uh-huh.
research it and get back to you. So I really think education is important. Hence
Mm.
the reason I love to do my courses. I love to do the scent bar. And it's educating youth. I love doing it. My
Mm.
granddaughter has been doing this since she was 6. And I love the fact that she incorporated her friends with it and teaching them that you can have healthy things and smell good and know how to use it and be aware of all the scary chemicals that are out there and
Mm.
just be a conscious consumer. Because to me, if you're a conscious consumer, whatever you put on your body, if it's got carcinogenics in it, that's accumulative. And that's what's going to make you ill long term. So if we can get these youth understanding to read the back of labels, yes, we all want you to pick up our product and we're going to make it look as good as we can. So you pick it up. But I really want you to turn it around and read all the ingredients because that's what's going to be absorbed into your body. And if you use it twice a day or 3 times a week, that's going to become deathly for you. And so education is paramount here.
Okay, I had to look up educate. I love words, but sometimes I don't know their origins, so I look them up, and
Yeah.
educate, originally means to bring out or to lead forth. And which is cool because if I look back on my own pathway, it was education that led me to being where I am today. And it's not, I did do a degree, I did a master's degree, but it wasn't that let it out. It was reading all these books and then finding out, man, that's exciting, that's interesting. I think it was Rupert Sheldrake's books on something about the cosmic field or something. I don't remember, but it was something that sparked interest in me of, wow, I want to learn more about that. And that was back in '08, '09, and then going to courses, and it brings out even more curiosity. And it's almost like you follow the curiosity is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
That whatever you're putting in, allow that to bring out, like to educate, right? To educate, ed meaning to bring out, and then to I guess the ducere is to lead, right? To lead out, to bring out. So allow that to bring out in you what it is that you're naturally gifted with. Um, and that might be, like you said, going to a course that brought out of you what you know, and now you're able to bring that out in other people, and they're going to express gifts that you haven't even seen, right?
So often too, I find that people find this stuff almost seemingly by accident.
Yeah.
Like you went through
Yep.
this hard thing, and then boom, somebody gives you're devastated. You're thinking you've got your purpose, you've got your career, you've got your things are moving, and then all of a sudden the rug is pulled out from under you, and somebody hands you essential oils. Says, "Here, try it. Give this a smell. Give this a try." And then that just that act there sends you down a complete different course. And thank goodness for Bev already kind of living into her purpose,
Yeah.
educates you, teaches you about it, and then you start seeing the possibilities. You start seeing, oh my gosh, this is what could be done.
Mm-hmm.
This is what is needed. This is what I can do. Oh my
Mm.
gosh, I could do way more than I thought I could do. And it grows and it grows and it grows. I just wanted to point that out because sometimes people think that it's like this big unveiling or this like your purpose pops out of a birthday cake and it's like ah! Like no, sometimes it comes through
Yeah.
in a just a weird small way that changes the course of everything.
I
Mm.
think the most, I think when looking back now, is I was not your normal aromatherapist. And let me clarify that. um,
We
most
get it though
aromatherapy,
because we're not like your normal anything.
um, most aromatherapists work
That's
one to
true.
one. Yeah. Most,
Yeah.
most aromatherapists work one on one. And they will give you massage and do essential oils.
Hmm.
When I did the course, the massage is the end part. That's the last of the course because you have to learn physiology, anatomy, and everything else that builds up to the final. I didn't want to touch people. And I know that sounds weird, and she would laugh at me. And I said, nah, I'm just, and so I became, I guess, an enigma in her class. And that's what led me down this path. I became more a creator, and I really know essential oils. I work
Mm,
with probably over 100 that I know of and work with them all the
Mm.
time. Whereas if I had been a one-to-one aromatherapist, you're only going to be working with the oils that you're working with your clients. But because I work creating the blends and creating the bases for the lotions and all that, that's what made me different. So I actually create essential oils and formulas for aromatherapists because some don't know as much because I just immersed myself. And
That,
that's how different I am than a regular aromatherapist is I am the background to what the front you will see. Doesn't mean I
yeah.
can't work on with you one to one, because I can do with that with a massage therapist and understand. Like if someone comes to me and says, "Well, I have eczema," I said, "How do you know you have eczema?" Because again, I'm not a physician. I do not diagnose. So I say to them, "Did a doctor tell you this?" "Oh no, my friend has it." No, no. You need to go and get a physician to tell you this is what you have. Then I can create the proper formula and blend that's going to help your eczema.
hmm.
So that's the difference.
I'm having a thought here, just a visual. It's we when we talk about helping people, we always do it from the root to the shoot to the fruit, or the fruit being the impact that they make. But the root is so essential because it's in the root that we think we are something, but it's also in the root that you become everything that, like you're talking about here.
Yeah.
And when you're in a position like you are, you've learned so much. You're dropping so much fruit, so much fruit. A lot of it's going, you think, to waste, but it's not, because now that becomes the nutrients for somebody else's root system. Does that make sense? So there's no
Yeah.
waste there. It's like there's an abundance of, your impact is so abundant that now that nourishes somebody else's root system so that they can become their own version
Yeah.
of that. That's kind of the visual I'm having here. And the whole thing is that there's this trust that, that's how it is supposed to go. The word trust comes from the I think it's a confident expectation. It's Greek. The confident expectation of a certain outcome. And sometimes we don't always have that, but the more you learn, the more confidence you have in yourself and the outcome, and however it goes. And so you learn to trust things, that you have the ability to do it, that you can share with others, that it's going to be okay, all of this. Because at some point people have a lack of trust where they doubt that. They're just like, I don't think this is going to go. I think this is dumb or whatever, and they throw their own spin on it, and then it dies off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'd love for you to speak for a moment on the importance of trust, if it's important at all. You might say, yeah, really dumb question, Nick.
No,
But
it's not. I think, especially in the business that I'm in,
yeah.
trust is of the utmost importance.
Okay.
Because first I have to say I'm going to take on a new spa. First I have to get the trust of the spa because I want that.
Mm,
Because if they don't trust what I create and formulate, then they cannot again impart that to their clients, right? They have to believe in the product that it is going to work. And I have to be
yeah.
honest, a lot of people will look at aromatherapy and it can be very airy fairy. And I
Hmm.
don't mean that mean, but to me, the oils had to prove themselves. And the way they proved themselves to me was twice, really proved to me, was when I first started doing this and I had worked in the school system. You always got the flu shot because you're
Hmm.
working with children. When I
Yeah.
left the school system, I didn't. And I'm like, everybody's getting sick around me. And I'm like, okay, I'm not getting sick. I must be really good. After taking all the courses and stuff, the essential oils protect you because back in the French plague days, there were French perfumers. And when the plague actually hit, quite a few of the perfumers did not die from the plague. And they said that
Wow.
was because of the essential oils that they had been immersed in. Not all made it through, but I guess maybe the ones that were actually really close and working with them did not die from the plague. And I thought, yeah. Can you taking a course? You're like, yeah, okay. You
Anything
can
to
say
sell an
that,
oil, right? Yeah.
right? But when I didn't get
Yeah.
sick those first couple of years, when everybody around us was just, flus and whatever, I went, huh, okay, maybe there is. So you had to kind of give me the science behind it as well. And the
Mm.
second time really pushed it home for me was just when my husband had cancer like 6 years ago. They unfortunately, there's two camps here. The medical professionals think we're not, you know, where we should be. We're not in their profession, so they kind of poo-poo kind of what we do. So my husband went in and he said, "Look, my wife's an aromatherapist. I'm going to use some of the stuff. What she needs from you, though, is every week he would have a weekly appointment and they would tell him of his progress." And I said, they need to tell me or tell you to tell me what they are doing or what I'm doing with you. I am not contraindicating what they're doing.
Mm.
Paramount here because it's my husband. So I've really had a stake in this that you need to keep me in the loop. So anyway, he had throat cancer and they were doing radiation. And they told him that he was going to have black skin and it would burn and peel off because of the radiation. I
Mm.
went, oh, hell no. Excuse me. No,
Yeah.
I'm not having that. And
Yeah.
so I created what I called a regenerative oil. And it had lots of good carriers like carrot tissue and jojoba. And it had essential oils like lavender uh, and rose, things that are going to regenerate. Well, he never burnt and he never went black. And they
Holy cow.
looked at him and went, what did she do? And he
Mm.
said, she made me something. And they were floored. And then I was like, good. It didn't hurt him. They did their job. I did mine. And
Yeah.
that's what made me really believe that if you trust and you do your research, and that's what I had to do, it had to prove to me. And we kept a journal, and I made notes on like it's like this thick of every day how I had to adapt to make sure. And that's no different than if I was to work with a customer on a one-to-one. There needs
Yeah.
to be that communication between, if it's a physician, the patient, the client, and myself. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
There's
Everybody has to be invested.
I love this idea because I'm one that loves science and philosophy. I like to blend the two worlds. It's, spirit philosophy. The word belief is one of those words to me that's like people throw it around all the time and they say you just need to believe in something. And I really struggle with that word because it's so cliche now. Nobody knows what it even means. And in the Bible sense, that was translated from Greek, which the word they used in Greek was pisteo, which means to have a credence to, a trust, and we go back to what trust is. It's a confident expectation, and it can be evidence based. So for me, in order to believe, um, I personally need evidence, right? Other people don't. They're like, yeah, perfect. And you look at placebos. What's cool about placebos is even if somebody knows a placebo is a placebo, the placebo still works because of their belief in the placebo. So the doctor could literally say, this is a sugar pill. It has nothing in it, but it's going to help you.
Yeah.
They would get better by the nature of that, believing that that pill would do something for them. And same with limiting beliefs. Townsend Wardlaw says that the moment you believe a belief, it becomes limiting by the nature of believing it. And so it's like, holy crap, on both sides of it, it's our perception of our trust in that thing, giving credence to that thing that allows it to be effective. And at the same time, it could very well be that it is effective, but we just didn't trust it. And so we ignored it. And so when you're collecting evidence with these doctors and you're showing evidence, now that adds credence to what you're doing. And now they're starting to believe in that. They have a trust in it. And your husband has a trust in it. And I think that's the value of belief, is really nothing more than having a trust or a credence in whatever it is you're doing,
Mhm.
enough to take action on it, right? And then let the proof speak for itself. Let the evidence speak for itself. Would you agree with that? Or is there a spin you want to add to that?
No, I really agree with that. You do have, I mean, it is scary. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody knows it's scary to stick your neck out. And especially, like I said, when it came to my husband's health, of
Mm,
whether he would, it would make it through, or was I hurting him? But the trust that he had in me, I didn't care about the cancer clinic. I don't know you. Just tell me I'm not hurting him. And
yeah.
then because he trusted me, and then as it went on, we both trusted each other. But it's no different than, on a lighter note, working with the spas, creating products
Yeah.
for them. I always get them to try it first. I try it first. And the reason, you'll see on my site, we don't use any chemicals. You don't
Hmm.
need chemicals. Um, and that's where my philosophy changed, is when I actually started working with the spas. It was the massage practitioners and the estheticians that were touching this product 10, 20 times a day sometimes. And if there were carcinogens in there or bad chemicals, it was them that was going to get the cancers, or
Wow. Yeah.
the not the end user, because someone who goes in for a massage may go maybe once every 6 months or once a month even. Those are not going to build up in their system. The practitioners, however, it
Holy
will.
cow.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's where my philosophy changed. When I now create products, if it's safe for myself and all the practitioners that I know, then it's definitely safe for somebody like you, because
Yeah.
you're not using it as much as we are. I don't want to hurt anybody. That's not what she, instilled in me, was the healing, what was important. So even on a mass basis, you can still have safe, very good products that don't have any scary things in that will harm you on a big basis.
And I think this is where people try and force their dreams into the world. And so they're willing to compromise, and then they
Yeah.
do put stuff in there to get it to work. And it does work, but at a cost.
Yes.
And that's where, the leaning back, I love the journey that you've had here, because if I follow you back, I can see the dots connecting all the
Yeah.
way through. But forward, you look forward and it's like you can't see anything. So there's this really trusting that things are going to be okay. But it doesn't feel like that. When you lost your job back in 1999, that probably felt really devastating and depressing and grieving, because that was something you really thought was you. It was something you invested in.
Yeah.
And I think anytime we have a loss, we're going to feel some kind of grief.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is I look at the evolution of what we do here, the giants and the smalls, and we have ideas on where we think it should go and how it should go. And then it doesn't, and we're like, damn it, right?
Yeah.
And then you see each of us evolving in different ways as well. I see Ryan evolving with music and really leaning in on that. And it's like, man, we have ideals of what we think things should be.
Yeah.
But then you have the natural expression of those gifts and talents coming out, and you're like, and you can't help but honor that,
Yeah.
right? It's like that is something that maybe wouldn't have come out had we not met on the journey where we did, that allows that to become a thing, right? Or me evolving into writing children's books. I never thought I'd be a children's book author, or none of that. When I was, in eighth grade, I wrote The Tortoise's Hair. I wrote that in eighth grade. I didn't think, oh, that would be anything. I thought it was a school assignment. And here it is, a book.
Yeah.
So here it is in creation. So you never know looking forward, but we try and force things. And then when it doesn't go our way, we get really depressed
Yeah.
because it didn't go the way we wanted it to go. But then you look back at the whole thing and you're like, that needed to happen.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be who I am today without that.
Yeah.
Sometimes our creations too, like they don't become a thing, maybe even in our lifetime.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was watching a show the other day, and it was actually about this is a cognac, I believe that this person was tasting, and it's $1,000 an ounce because the curator, it takes 100 years in an oak barrel to to make. And after 100 years, then they can open it and then they can put it in bottles and serve it out. And then there's a limited supply because it's 100 year, years old. And so the brewmaster or whoever, I don't know what they're called when they're making specialty, drinks like that, but that person will never see or taste their creation.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting to me, that sometimes these things we don't get to taste it. That you don't know what your influence will do. Nick, I mean, the eighth grade was a while ago, buddy. I mean, I was,
Thank you.
yeah, and so, uh, but in the eighth grade, you weren't thinking about that. Now, luckily, you got to taste this in your lifetime. You got to see it come to fruition. I mean, barely, but I mean, but because you're pretty old. No, I just have to give him a hard time because he's older than me. But
You're
um,
gonna be here one day, dude.
I know, yeah,
I'm wearing
it's all
glasses
coming.
now because
Yeah,
I
look at,
can't see the screen.
oh
We were
yeah, I
talking
mean,
about that
got
earlier.
the gray coming in. So
Yeah.
it happens to us all. But the beautiful thing is that you step forward into a creation, you set it down for a minute and then picked it back up. It was still there. It
Yeah.
was still available, and you got to see it through to where it's sitting right there back behind you, and all these
Just
years later,
just in the
and in the
nick of
hands of,
time
yeah, just
before I
in the
passed away
that's
of
that's
old
the that's
age.
the mom, just in the nick
Just
of
in the
time.
nick of time.
Yeah, but for me, what it does is it also gives me like a lot of, in what we're doing, or in any of your purposes, whatever you're doing at that moment, you don't know where it's going to go exactly. It could change your life and you go completely a different course, but that was part of what was needed to get to that different course. It could absolutely impact and affect people. There's one right here that she had to leave for just a second, but one Lori Parks, who is in Canada, and we have never met face to face. We've met through Zoom, social media, things like that. She's been with us since the beginning, and this is almost 5 years ago. Like this is a while back, and this lady has we've helped impact and change her life, and she's done the same for us. But we never would have met her if we didn't step forward into the creation of Wake Up with Giants TV
Yeah.
in the Tribe of Giants. And it's simple as putting together a Facebook group and starting a live show that we show up to every week.
Mhm.
And now this person, I wouldn't trade for any amount of money. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm sure that you've had experiences like that. Am I wrong in that? Or is that faulty? What's
No.
what do you
There's
think with your impact and legacy and your journey and the ripple effect? What are your
uh
thoughts?
uh it's nice to have people in your life that um are always there. My mom is gone now because she was in her 90s, but to have that as a support system, somebody that cared enough to make sure that she always said to me, I want to help you while I'm alive.
Hmm.
And that
Wow.
stuck with me because it's the same as I go on. She said, when I'm dead, I'm dead, right? I want to see. So I guess that's why she was there for me when I needed to start the business, and my husband and I couldn't at the time. My husband has been my rock
Hmm.
from the get go. Yeah, no matter where I was in this, yes, dear. Yes, dear. You know, he always was there supporting me. If
Mm.
things needed to be picked up, if things needed to be delivered, he retired from the railway at 55 because he had enough points and enough years. But he's never retired because as soon as he retired from the railroad, he came here full time. He manufactures with me. He picks up anything we need. He delivers to our customers. And what more can you ask for? You know, your partner to be there by your side. Hence, when he needed that help, it wasn't even a second thought. I needed to
Mm,
help him
Mm.
because he was my rock, my partner. My daughter, who makes everything you see of what I look like, my daughter created. So she is all the outside
Wow.
of my brand, and I'm all the inside. So again, you
So you
know,
didn't have a marketer and a brand agent,
I
so
had,
you created one,
yeah,
right?
yes, I
Yeah,
birthed her.
literally created one.
Literally. Because
Yeah,
everybody says, well, how do you look that way? I said, you can't afford it. I said, I'm so fortunate that
yeah.
I had
Wow.
her. And so she's my brand, and she always makes sure that we are on task. And she's been there, you know, cheerleading all the way, go mom. And then with my granddaughter, just being from 6 years old, playing with the oils, understanding them. Every time I do a scent bar where people create their own perfumes and colognes, Paige, my granddaughter, has always been there doing it.
Mm.
And now, 2 years down the road, probably within 2 years, I'm still going to be here. But she is now going to take over the business. So to me, there's my legacy. She's not going to let it die. And
Beautiful.
that made me so happy because my husband's going to be 70 next year. I'll be 65 next year. And you go, we don't want to manufacture every day anymore, but I don't want to leave the creating. I
Yeah,
love to do the courses. I love
that's
to
me.
educate.
Yeah,
I love to keep doing it. But do I want to be here making product every day? No, not really.
yeah.
I want to be in the background helping her, just like she's been helping me, right? You know, reverse the roles a little bit.
Can we play with something here? You know, like couple of ideas,
Hmm.
toward the end of the show here. One is abundance, the other is vision. I want to play with these two areas. We know in our work, we talk about uncertainty is unlimited possibility. That possibility is out there. Chris Smith talks about that possibility exists, limitation is created. But we know that everything is possible. But the abundance is that we have all of these resources around us and we get to transform those into anything we can imagine. They're all around us. You did that with oils. The other is vision. And when we talk about vision, people talk about writing your grand vision for life and writing your grand vision for things. And if you're really, I think honestly speaking to this, if we were to step back and write a vision of where this is going, and did you ever do that? We would likely find that it wasn't just one grand vision; it was a series of small visions collected together that likely led to the outcomes here. But if I were to ask you today, where's your company going in 10 years? You'd be like, I have no idea. Maybe you do know, but how important when it comes to vision, how important is it to write that? Is it about the grand picture and the grand impact, or is it more about the, like we talked about purposes earlier, is it more about the purposes of I have a vision for this week? Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Can you play with that a little bit?
Yeah, it is, like you said, it's really hard to think. Like we said in the beginning,
Yeah.
when someone asks me, where do you think you're going to be? I don't know, right? Um, and that
Literally.
frustrates me. Yeah, it
Yeah.
frustrates me sometimes,
Hmm.
but to know that I'm trying to get plans in place is that I call them baby steps. I don't know, people
Mm.
sometimes call them a journey, but to me,
Yeah.
baby steps are far more important to me. If, you know, my granddaughter now doing more in here is a baby step,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
seeing how she can handle a customer, how she handles things here was a next baby step.
Mm.
To now in 2025, we now start looking at some of the not so fun stuff, like the background of the business. To me, that's another baby step. So I don't know, like I said, maybe 2 years. But if it takes three, it takes three. But I want to do this in baby steps. That's the only way I think
I
I
love that.
can manage it,
Me
right?
too.
And see
Yeah.
each little step, and then you make the next step after that one's complete. That makes sense?
Oh man, so much sense. I think of if I had to look forward, I think of it like going to Cheesecake Factory where their menu is 14 pages long and you can't decide what to eat, so you just close your eyes and point and hope for the best, right?
Yeah.
Is sometimes if I had to look forward and really see, for one, all of the work that went into getting to here today, just this alone
Yeah.
today, I would have never stepped. It would be too overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so I'm so grateful for baby steps because everything that we've created today has been from, we call them, giants still take small steps. They're just
Yeah.
bigger. That's what we say. These small steps have created everything that we see today. And they've been from stepping into the unknown. We don't know what's going to come next. A lot of times it feels like it's all falling apart. A lot of times you're sitting there looking at it and going, why didn't that work? Edison's 10,000 ways that didn't work, that's all he found was the one that worked by finding the 10,000 that didn't.
Yeah.
And some days it really feels like that. I have visions for this, and some days I look at it and it's like, why isn't it going the way I thought it would go?
Yeah.
And how do you hang in with that, and how do you trust that sometimes letting go of certain things maybe is the best thing? Does that make
Um,
sense?
I'm not good at letting go.
Okay. Okay.
Because
Yeah.
that's where my husband and I are
Yeah.
two, which is great. Like I'm the
Mm.
visionary. Like I'm like, yeah, I want to do that, and I go. My husband's
Yeah.
like, whoa, you gotta think it through. Um,
Whoa.
no, it's
Whoa.
it's letting it go is very hard for me
Yeah.
because when he says it, I think it means he's telling me to stop. So
Mm.
what I had to come to understand is I had to think of what my letting go was, not
Mm.
his. It's okay to say let it go, but I had to know in my mind what let it go meant. And if I'm on the hamster wheel, I need to go, okay, stop
Yeah.
and think it through. And that's what he means by let it go. His letting go and my letting go are different, but I had to make sure that I said stop. That is means letting go. And
Yeah.
then work it through again, baby steps. Because you do, right?
Yeah. There's a beauty in this. The idea of depression. Laurel Erica was on our show, and she said that when people feel depressed, that the word depressed means deep rest. They're in need of deep rest.
Oh,
Like they need to stop. And Lisa Feldman Barrett's work talks about depression as a not measuring up to our own ideals. And so when we're not measuring up to our own ideals, we feel depressed.
yeah,
And when we teach in our program, there's a reason for depression is it has you pull back from what you're doing because it's not working.
yeah,
And then it has you see reality as it is. It's a reality check. And then you have a chance to reflect and um, not ruminate, but most people ruminate on it. Oh, poor me. And why is this going this way? But the reality is it gives you a chance to look at reality as it is and really reflect on it and have a respect and reverence for what you've
mm-hmm,
done, and then re-engage in a new direction. And if you don't step off the hamster wheel once in a while, then you keep spinning and you're wondering, why isn't this working? You do the insanity cycle and you're sitting
doesn't
there
work.
burning yourself out and it's not working. And the reality is you need to stop because it's not working.
Yeah,
So that not because you're giving up, but because you need to maybe go in a new direction here.
yeah,
And so I think that's where, when we get into our depressed state, it's not there to hurt you. It's really there to get you to wake up and look that what you're doing isn't getting you to your ideal. And maybe your ideal isn't even your ideal. It's what you think you should do based on what everybody's told you should do. So there you got anxiety. So that idea of definitions of pausing, like you say, and the word purpose means to pause. It means move forward, to pause. Um, that's where we get to recalibrate and decide if we're going to continue in that direction or we're going to go in a new direction. And I think it's essential,
Yeah.
like oils. Did you like that?
It
That was
is as
clever.
oil, yeah. And communication.
Yeah,
I find whether or not you have to communicate with yourself as well. And
yeah,
that, to me, that's where you have to change the, we communicate with each other,
yeah,
but if you don't talk to yourself and figure it out, like you said, and get off that hamster wheel, you're not going to get anywhere. It just becomes a big frustration. And I
yeah,
think getting older has helped me, because if I look back when I started the company in my 40s, way different person than I
yeah,
am
yeah.
now. Um, because people have taught me things along the way as well, and so as the businesses, and maybe becoming a little bit more zen than I was
Mm,
back then. You can only control so much, and that's the problem when you run your own business, is you micromanage. You want to control everything,
yeah,
and
yeah,
sometimes you can't. And
right.
once you realize that you can't, it's okay.
Yeah,
And like you said, I love how you said it. You just reevaluate and figure out what is going to work. Because if you bang your head against that same wall, you don't get anywhere.
well, and the definition of failure, by definition, means a negative yield from your efforts, and success is a positive yield from your efforts, and the yield that we define is subjective.
Yeah.
So truthfully, the failure that we think we're facing isn't a failure. It could literally be a recalibration and a redirection, and it might be necessary. So when things feel like they're maybe falling apart, maybe they're not. They're just pushing you to really step back and look at reality and go, look, something is not yielding the way it needs to. So you really need to relook at it. And that doesn't mean quitting. That's different, right? That's a recalibration.
Yeah.
I appreciate this. I know we're already at time. It goes
Oh,
so fast here, if you
it
can believe
does.
that. But what I would love to do is, I know, one, you've got a new program that you're promoting. I want you to talk about that briefly.
Okay.
But two, I want you to leave a message for the person across from us on the screen of
Ah,
one thing that
okay.
you feel impressed to share with. There's a real human across the screen from you right now. And not me and Ryan. I mean, we're real too, but we'd love to first have you just leave a message for them, and then talk about your upcoming program that you're doing, if you would. Is that okay?
Yeah. So I have
Yeah.
to leave a message for myself.
Well, not for you, for the person that's watching this, that
Oh, for
maybe
the
today
person that's,
live, yeah,
ah,
or later on.
yeah.
What would you want them to know?
To to me, the most important is to go into everything with an open mind. Not believe everything, but go in with an open mind.
Mm,
Educate yourself as much as you can. To me, and communicate what you can so that you can teach future generations.
mm,
And to me, that's so important, is to be a person that you wish. Hang on. Let me say this again.
yeah,
I want people, I want to show people what I wish to have done with me. I
yeah,
want to support, I want to educate, I want to communicate, and I want to heal. And I
beautiful.
think that's what I've done to this point, is to never go off my own mission. I love animals dearly. I've worked with animals. I love to heal the animals. I love the environment. I live in British Columbia, which is, to me, a beautiful, beautiful province. I was born and raised here with the mountains and the oceans. I don't want to see them going away. I want future generations So by me making products, it's important that they don't hurt people, animals, and the environment.
Mm.
So if you're going to do something out there, please think very carefully of the impact that it will have on all those things.
Wow.
That's my message.
I love that. And will you tell us briefly about your upcoming program?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I've been training people for probably a close to 15 years, and my daughter kindly helped me. We're going to do our first online course starting on January 3rd. It's called Tantalize Your Senses. I did it with a massage therapist. I love her. She's been around as long as I have. She's going to teach you the massage techniques. I'm going to teach you the blending techniques. And we will meet once a week live, but the rest is online so you can do it at your own pace. So
Mm.
I'm really excited to finally be able to do courses online now and keep educating, even when I can't be there every day. And if anybody ever wants to have fun, and I mean, unfortunately, you have to be local, but if you're ever in, Vancouver, British Columbia, please come into our scent bar where you get to create your own perfumes and colognes, only using essential oils. So it's going back to the French perfume days.
Huh.
And just keep us in your heads if you know anybody that's looking for essential oils or you know good products that they can feel happy using and safe using, and you know please visit Smell This. We would truly appreciate it. Instagram, like us, and Facebook. I have to say, my biggest negative to myself has been no social media
Uh,
until the last year.
yeah,
And that was a failure. But too busy burying my head creating. So unfortunately, that was bad then, but now we're trying and we're going to go forward.
I love it. Yeah, thank you. Ryan, final thoughts from you, man?
Oh,
You
yes. I
listening
watched
today?
I
Yeah.
watched a show on Netflix. I don't even remember. It was some chick flick or as I do late at night, I just watch chick flicks all night long. But my wife tells me that I need to not select movies anymore because the last like three we watched in a row were like the dumbest shows we've ever seen. But the, in one of them, um, this guy made candles, and the scent was Grandpa,
Okay.
and he made it as a one-off because he made it to smell exactly like his grandpa. And I thought about this
Mm.
as you're talking, Arlene, and how powerful
Mm-hmm.
scents are. We talked at the beginning of the show. I said, hey, things are going to get a little smelly, um,
Yep.
but you that I can take a smell and go right back into an instance. I can smell my grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
I could smell my grandma. I could smell something that brings back a memory,
Mm-hmm.
and the price that people would pay to be able to have that. Um, and also to be able to as you're using those essential oils, the healing,
Mm-hmm.
um, there's multiple good things, many good things, great things about essential oils and the work that you're doing. And just reminding myself of the impact of small things,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and the power of the senses, and reminding myself that to be gentle on myself as I move through my journey
Yeah.
and grow. And this has been powerful. It's been amazing. I had um, one of our giants. His name is Hugh, and he's been on here right here. He likes to ask questions and make jokes and trip us up sometimes on when we laugh. And he'd asked what your favorite aroma is and how many of you've created. So I want to give a little bit of my time to
Okay.
Hugh And
Okay.
will you answer those questions for Hugh?
Okay.
What's your favorite aroma, and
Oh,
how many
am
have
I
you
allowed
created
more than
blends?
one?
Sh- Sure. What's your top couple?
My top couple, ylang ylang. I don't know if many people know what ylang ylang is. It's an
I do.
actual.
I did a meme of a of a cat that has its tail was erect because elang is for, isn't it for
Yes.
ED? Isn't it?
No, it's actually an
Yeah.
aphrodisiac.
Yeah, the
Okay, okay,
aphrodisiac.
okay.
There you
It
go.
Yeah,
encourages,
so
but
I only
ylang
know that because of that. So
okay, ylang ylang is an exotic flower that comes from
hmm.
Madagascar, and I love the smell. Um, Lavender, of course, it's the go-to for most people, and bergamot. I love bergamot, and if you know Earl Grey tea, bergamot is the aroma you smell. It's actually in Earl Grey tea. So if you like
Oh
Earl
wow.
Grey tea, you will like bergamot. How many blends have I created? Thousands? More than thousands? I couldn't even begin to tell you.
Do you
Yeah.
remember
It's
your first blend?
um yeah, I would say it's probably from the Ultimate Cream because somebody that
Huh.
worked with my husband at the railroad when I was first in the very beginning said, "Can you make me calendula cream?" And I'm like, "I don't know what that is." So I sat down and I did. But the blend I made was for that cream, and it is lavender, chamomile, tea tree.
Hmm.
Oh boy, and peppermint.
Hmm.
That's not, that sounds nice,
That
actually.
does sound
Yeah.
nice.
Because
Yeah.
you pick the blends. Okay, so here you go. Lavender regenerates the skin cells. So if I'm going to make a cream and it's healing, you want to regenerate the skin cells.
Hmm.
Chamomile is really good for irritated skin. It will take down the redness.
Hmm.
So we want that in a cream. Tea tree is your natural antibacterial. It beats anything in the world to kill any germs, any fungus, anything that you want to kill is tea tree. And peppermint has a natural analgesic property. So that's why you'll see it in headache blends
Is it
because when you,
is it weird that my girlfriend was rubbing tea tree oil on me this
no,
morning?
why?
Because it'll kill anything.
She needs to be
Sort of
antibacterialized.
Bye bye, Nick.
yeah. She said
But
it would
this time,
work.
no,
I'm
this time of
rubbing
year,
toes. Yeah,
tea
go ahead.
tree is very important because we want to keep all the cold germs away, right? So we
That's
use it
funny.
and spray it and whatever. But yeah, you just yeah, the spas have forced me out of my comfort zone, which I absolutely love.
Hmm.
Because if they don't come to me and go, "We need you to make this," I'm like, "Okay." So I never say no, and I've never failed yet.
That's amazing. That's
Yet.
amazing.
So
Yeah,
yeah, that's another thing to tell people. Just don't say no, try. All
I
you
like
can
that.
do is learn from it,
Yeah.
right?
I like that. I feel like that's a message that needed to come in right there. Just try. Why not?
Just try.
Just
Yeah.
try it. This has been incredible to me. I appreciate you going on the tangents with me on there.
It's awesome.
It's 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 amazing how our thinking evolves over time, and especially from how life plays out. I when I started my journey, very secular, very scientific, very need evidence, and the more I evolve, the more it's like, okay, there needs to be a balancing of those worlds, and you really start to learn that trust is such a huge element in what we do here, that you almost in a way can't screw it up unless you quit,
Yes.
right? That as long as you're willing to continue exploring, then it's going to evolve, it's going to express, and you just have to trust that. And just, even if you don't have enough trust, I love the idea that all it takes is a mustard seed. That's it. That's not very much. And if you don't have that, then you can borrow, and so, just just do what you can with what you have. And if you're having that lack of trust, reach out to people like us, and like you, Arline, and have somebody inspire you,
Yep.
speak into you, breathe into you. And that'll sometimes help your trust, but don't quit. I think that's the big thing, is don't give up on your potential.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people do. They become that acorn tree that never expressed. And that's so unfair, so if you need inspiration, it sounds like, reach out to Arline, reach out to Ryan, reach out to me. We'll speak into you. If you're not seeing it for you, we can speak that into you.
Mhm.
And so, man, I appreciate you sharing today. I've been inspired by you, by your words.
Thank
You've
you.
breathed into me, some hope and some new perspectives. And I'm grateful that we had you on today, Arline. Is
Ryan,
there?
thank you. I
Yeah,
was a little scared, like I
yeah,
told you, but it was nice, and it feels nice to be able to
mm,
share
yeah,
with other people, because I'm hoping that someone out there will go, you know what? I am going to try
yeah.
and start their journey.
I love that. Why not?
Why not?
Why not
Become a giant.
become a giant? That's exactly it.
Yep.
Be that giant. It's already in there. You're pre-engineered for it. You've got it in there. It's time to express it. So if you can't do it on your own, reach out to us. We'll help you do it. Go make it a giant day. We love you. And please share this with somebody you think would benefit from this
Oh, I
message.
will. Yeah.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
Love you
Thanks,
too.
guys. Merry
Thank you.
Christmas.
Merry
You
Happy
Christmas.
New Year.
Hang tight,
Bye.
Arline.